Hello and welcome to the Parma Podcast, episode 192. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Eric.
How's it going?
And on today's episode, we are going to be dreaming stuff up. I don't know what else to say. This is going to be a very fun one. First of all, we're in AOS again. And second, I love doing these episodes where we get to just talk about the things we wish existed.
Yeah, AOS models we wish existed. This should be pretty fun.
But without any further ado, let's jump in.
Sounds good.
All right, before we get into the actual models for each faction that we've chosen, we don't know what each other chose, so we might actually overlap on this. But we do need to lay the ground rules.
We have ground rules?
Yeah. Basically the same as when we did this for 40k a couple years ago. And yes, we've already done this for 40k, but yes, I also want to do it again for 40k because it's been a while and some of those are outdated now. Tastes have changed since then, and we've gotten some of our wishes.
So yeah, we'll do the 40k one again eventually, but AOS time. What are the rules?
Basically, the main rule is you cannot wish for something that already exists that just is a bad take on something where you just want to redo.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't say like, this model's outdated and I just want it refreshed. We have to do something new. And yes, we always want refreshes for old stuff. That's universal.
I feel like I might cheat a little bit on one, but that's fine.
The second one, you can't just wish for an old world character to exist in AOS and get a model. No Cetra. And third, no wildly asking for something that is outside the scope of a faction. So you can't ask for Fyreslayers with pants.
Wow. No, that all makes sense. I think I'm here for it.
All right, but with that out of the way, let's actually go through all of the factions. We'll start with order, and we'll do all the Grand Alliances one after the other. So do you want to start with cities?
Yeah, Cities of Sigmar. So this is the one that I'm kind of cheating a little bit on the no model updates.
Okay. It's always good to start with breaking the rule right away to show that you do not actually care about rules.
Yeah, just to make sure that you understand that rules don't actually matter. They're like points.
Rules for thee, not for me. Welcome to management, baby.
So my wish for Cities of Sigmar is the Dwarden vehicles that are like not as fancy as KO, but like we can bring them back in because like we had gyro bombers, gyrocopters, steam tanks.
Yeah, the ones that they inherited from Old World.
And they're now back to Old World. And it's a big fucking hole for coolness in Cities of Sigmar.
All right, so we ended up very similar. Mine ties into you.
I was honestly thinking to make a slight change on it to turn more like Gatling style than like cannon stuff. That would be
okay.
Like the take on it. But like, again, like I said, this one was my I'm kind of cheating on the no model update thing because Cities it needs the things back.
So since it was the first one, I did actually stick to the rule. So my wish is really it's for like a updated steam tank, but I'm not allowed that. So how about we do a bigger, more impressive steam tank?
Like a Storm Tiger.
I know the land boat was a thing in like original Old World stuff in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. People always want to add it to Total War, but that's more like a Baneblade for a 40k comparison. It's not what we're looking for this. I'm talking about like the midway point there of like the Dorn to the steam tank's Russ.
Yeah.
Ideally though, we have them make the whole tank on the sprue and not missing the entire bottom.
Honestly, I think the land ship that Total War in comparison to the steam tank has would probably be about maybe slightly smaller than what the land ship is, but I kind of see what you're saying.
Yeah, and like obviously when I'm comparing this to Dorn, I'm not saying shooty like the Dorn. AOS is a different game. Probably one big gun and like 4 musket shots out of the side or whatever, right?
And a big cow catcher.
Yeah. But like a bigger, newer steam tank.
Yeah. No, honestly, that would work.
And maybe you do make it a little funky and boatish just to play up the people who've always wanted the land boat.
Well, it's tough because like I did call out KO of like, let's not make it as fancy as that. So like you do have to make sure that there's separation between whatever this new model is and what Karadron Overlords ships, sky ships actually are like.
And I think Cities, the Dawnbringer Crusade version of Cities, like the new stuff, has a pretty cohesive identity, and you can get a steam tank in that style that would work and would not look like KO.
The the less fancy, the more it works just barely, but it like we're able to manufacture many of these on a line as opposed to you only made one.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, but I think we're both in agreement that Cities is missing that section.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the one thing in the new range that is just like very clearly missing. All right, so I guess up next we'll do Daughters of Khaine. So to start us off, I want a third monster lady.
Yeah.
So we've got, right now there's the classic, you can either have the bat ladies or the snake ladies. And then Morathi herself is like the Medusa with wings.
Like almost dragony kind of, yeah.
Yeah, she's like the midway point where the both halves of that are part of her. But they also have the new Raven lady who's the witch character.
You were talking about that and my immediate was like, we're talking Raven, right?
No.
No?
So I had two. I think Raven ladies is okay that like aesthetically match her.
I think that would be awesome. But yeah, what do you got then?
If we're doing like what I was calling like witch animals, because it's like a bat and a snake, right? I think the third one is you do spider ladies.
Okay.
Because you can do like a black widowy, slendery spider arms coming out of their shoulders and stuff and make them real creepy.
Oh yeah.
And I think it plays into Daughter of Khaine's like overall aesthetic, which is going to be the word of the day, by the way.
Really play into like the Black Widow.
Yeah. And like the alive look. Like you don't want to make them like big or bulky in any way. Like you got to go lithe with Daughters of Khaine.
You don't want them like the Spider Fang and Gloomspite Gitz.
Exactly. They should still look like an elf lady, just like the other ones do, but with an aspect of that animal, which in this case, probably extra limbs coming out of their back and shoulders.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Just have them be like melee live duelists.
I do think I like that better than the Raven, which was my immediate when you called it out, but that's a bit too much bat wing similarity.
That's kind of my reason I went with the spiders instead of the Raven ladies, because I was like, oh, Raven ladies to match her is interesting, but how is that different than the bats?
And like it obviously is once you like look at it, but like from a silhouette across the table, how is that different?
And from a purpose standpoint, like at least with, okay, we've got snake bow ladies, we've got bat ladies with javelins, and then we've got spider ladies who, death by a million cuts, basically have 4 daggers equipped plus the 2 in their hands, right? That's a cool spread, and now you understand what all of them are doing.
Yeah, I'm here for it. That sounds awesome.
What do you got?
So mine was more of a, I want monsters. Let's get some like proper monsters in here.
I will say I could have done monsters for basically everyone. I tried very hard to not just say monsters every time so that when I say it, it's not eye rolling, because I could have done it for everybody. I love big fantasy monsters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you because like those are some of the coolest models and it does have like so much potential. But I do think either something like a Hydra to kind of like work off of the endless spell Bloodwrack Viper, or I could even see something like Manticore styling just because of like, you know, you've got like the snake ladies, the bat ladies, potentially some other like, you know, ravens. So like work into like, you know, the cross between multiple things, Manticore.
It's interesting that you said Manticore, because when we get to Chaos later, I have a counter to you saying Manticore here, but I don't want to do my whole spiel that I want to do when we're in Chaos.
All right. And that's totally fair. There's a few places. That's why like Manticore was like, I have a question mark in the notes after, because I'm like, there's other places that could be better potentially, but it was like, maybe, yeah, that would work. Either way, I do kind of want, yeah, like something that's monster-like.
That's fair. I do think Daughters is not a monster army, though, of like, other than Morathi, who is just a god.
Right.
They're not really a monster army. There's the one bigger Bloodwrack Medusa, but other than that, it's basically just ladies with animal aspects or ladies with daggers.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I feel like they could have like a proper monster that isn't Morathi god or an endless spell.
Sure.
But
I do think Snake is the right way to go.
yeah, but I mean, realistically, yours, I think I like better after hearing it. But what do you have for Fyreslayers? Because I know you love Fyreslayers.
All right, so I have to preface this. I don't know Fyreslayer lore, and I'm not going to learn it. just so you don't even write the comment. Hopefully this is workable in how they function. I'm just going off general dwarf, how I expect this to work.
Yeah.
I kind of like did a bottom up design here, not a top down. I want an elite unit like in 40K that we just got with Space Wolves with the 3 dudes with blades and their 3 dogs, right? The new wolf unit. I want something like that to give us smaller Magmadroths and to have like a more elite, less 20 naked dudes. So what I came up with like to make this work is, I don't know if this works lore wise, I don't know how this works, but I'm gonna say rune masters in training with young slash small slash whatever Magmadroths that aren't like large enough to be the actual mount versions yet, so they're more working in tandem with them, like training your dragon before you ride it.
So the Vulcan Flameseers have a small one. Are you thinking something kind of like that, but maybe slightly bigger?
No, bigger than that thing.
Because like they're basically the size of the dwarf, which is pretty small.
Yeah, I'm talking like basically the size of the Seraphon salamander, like
Okay.
3 dwarves long. Like you put 3 dwarf bases next to each other, and that's how long it should still be like several times bigger than the dwarf he's with.
Yeah. So somewhere in between the cute little puppy from the Vulcan Flameseers and like the big Magmadroths so that they actually ride.
Yeah. And my thought for this is basically they'll be elite through having like some permanent, and again, the buffs and how it works on the War Scroll and everything changes all the time. But like I was thinking of how you could do this, and you would have it be like the runesmiths in training have like a War Scroll ability that is based on them being like a bad version of the boss who is the one making all the rune effects for your army rule.
Mm-hmm.
And then have it be like most of the extra melee firepower comes from the Magmadroth half, who are on like, we'll say like biker bases in 40k size or like large cavalry bases in AOS.
Yeah.
To give a size that actually means something. And then like 3 dwarves with them who are basically okay in combat. They won't do most of the damage, but rules wise, they're there because they're the reason the unit is so elite. And then you have an excuse from a lore aspect to have like Path to Glory rules to, later in a campaign, turn this unit, like remove it from your army and add 1 new Magmadroth Rune Lord or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Runesmith on Magmadroth, whatever. Add that to your army after like this unit gets enough experience or whatever in a campaign. Like you can do fun lore stuff with that.
That would be pretty cool.
And I have no idea if someone's gonna be like, well, actually, you're born the Runesmith and you automatically know everything. You never have to train. Also, the Magmadroths instantly digivolve into their big form.
I mean, it's possible that's the case, but there's multiple rune heroes.
That was kind of my thought too. And there's like a Rune Master who seems to be beyond Runesmith, but he's not on a Magmadroth.
Yeah, and that's why like my immediate was I'm pretty sure there's a Rune Master model. So like that whole like level up system seems like it should work, even if like maybe they need a little bit of retcon as necessary, would be perfectly fine. I like it. I'm here for it. And it definitely does fill a small kind of hole that they have.
Yeah, and then you actually have like a big part of what I'm wishing for in these is to feel like there is a small, medium, large, big character / name character for all of the like fun concepts a faction has that's not quite fully fleshed out yet. We'll talk about this several times throughout of like I'm looking to whole fill thematic lists for like casual play. I'm not saying like every one of these is going to be perfect for anyone trying to like take down the big 5-round AOS tournament near them. It's just for you want to add to your collection with this part of the army you like, and it's very clear there is only a chaff unit and 1 named character, and that's all you've got. But anyway, what do you got for Fyreslayers?
So mine was more of trying to find an answer to the hole that is ranged weaponry.
Yeah, I was iffy on doing that because I feel like Fyreslayers is supposed to be KO's other half, but KO does have melee stuff, but it's hard not to in AOS because it's such a melee focused game where even the shooting army has to have enough melee. So it's like, I get that. Someone should tell Tau.
And like very much they shouldn't be getting guns and like, big artillery pieces and like that kind of shit. That doesn't make any damn sense for Fyreslayers from what I understand and what feels right. So it was like they have no real ranged weaponry, but it kind of makes sense. How do we fix it?
Are you going to do like tomahawk throwing?
Hex throwers, tomahawks.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in. Dwarves throwing axes is cool.
So like let's properly, we've got the Volkite berserkers with 2 axes. Well, let's just add a couple more and then you could start throwing them. Right? And you get from like a rules kind of thing, you get like a shorter range, but still ranged weaponry that you can look at. And it isn't just, hey, the Magmadroth can spit fire. We have like proper infantry that can throw axes and do some amount of ranged combat.
Yeah, and like doing mortals on charge of them throwing the axes on charge and stuff could be a thing. You can do all sorts of cute things with the rules for it too.
Yeah, there is actually a decent amount of potential there.
It also feels cool for them because it's like even their ranged unit then is still a guy with 2 axes in his hand when you get into melee. Like,
yep.
Oh no.
Yeah, and like it still has to feel it's a Fyreslayer. You have to model the axes differently, and like I said, like have like a belt with a bunch of throwing axes or tomahawks or something, like whatever you want to do there. Make it fun, but they're still able to like fight in melee with axes. We're Fyreslayers through and through, but hey, there's some ranged weaponry options.
All right, I'm in for it. Idoneth Deepkin, what do you got?
Dude, this one was so bloody difficult for me.
This was not. I slam dunked mine.
I really like the spread of monsters that they've got. Like they've got like eels, sharks, seahorse kind of things, and then they got big turtle.
Yep.
I love that aspect of this army. I love thinking of expanding it further. And my immediate one was I want them to have giant fucking whale.
I thought you were going to say mine. I was like, oh shit. Okay, we have different ones.
No, I think there's a lot of potential there. They're the ocean faction. It turns out that the ocean has a lot of shit there. So like from real world examples, there's a lot of potential that you could draw from, even like really, really weird shit. But I think it would just be fun to have a giant whale, like very similar to the giant turtle in idea, but just another one essentially. What did you have?
Eric, put your eyes to the show notes while I explain what you're about to laugh at.
Yeah, that was the other.
I was really afraid you were going to say it. So, do you know what we need? We need a giant enemy crab.
Carcinization.
So we have a giant turtle, right? And turtles are amazing.
True.
But if you were going to make something a moving fortress in the ocean, why do you not have a giant crab to walk around the battlefield being a fortress?
Yeah, that does go hard.
But I sent Eric a famous someone turning a crab into a tank tabletop thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm glad we were both on the idea of like, let's just keep having them get big, cool monsters.
Yeah, well, so they've got a good amount of stuff at the mid-size when I was looking at it. And when you get to small size, we've got guy with little friend crab, right? That's from Underworld's Warband, whatever. But they've got like little friend crab. And I was looking and the one guy has the awesome octopus that's cooler than him and does all his work for him. And I was thinking of like what I would want that would like expand the range. And I was like, an octopus thing could be cool, but I'm stuck on the idea of I want to walk a crab around the battlefield that is like even bigger than the Dune Crawler in AdMech, right? Like I want full pie plate, 160 millimeter base, giant crab.
Yeah, like it's like an actual fortress.
Have it where it's like truly got fortifications that they built onto the crab and have it look like barnacle-y. It could look so sick.
There is a lot of potential there.
It's so fun. Idoneth is so fun because the ocean is such a like huge resource for like variety of life that we as humans are not used to seeing daily. So it always feels novel to us, like an eel and everything always feels like weird.
Yeah, because like my initial idea was like they could have some more just like basic infantry and like we got the Numerardi and like you could expand some of that a bit further, but that's boring. I just want cool monsters from the ocean doing cool shit.
I crossed one out on my list here that was before my giant enemy crab, which was doing a beast unit that is jellyfish who would like specialize in tying something down and like, you know, like shocking stuff and paralyzing it and making it can't move.
Yeah.
But I thought that would probably just be super obnoxious gameplay wise and balance wise. And I was like, never mind, let's just do a giant enemy crab. You've got a charging based mobility army and we give them a unit that specializes in paralyzing your stuff. I'm sure this will lead to fun, interesting gameplay.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so KO's up next.
Yeah.
So this is where I did your Fyreslayer idea. I was like, KO, predominantly shooty, to the point where sometimes it causes issues because it's very one-dimensional like Tau, and then it's hard to balance around, blah, blah, blah. AOS is very much a melee game. People get mad.
But like, they do have melee weapons in the Arcanaut Company, one of the basic units.
They've got the harpoon guys. Yeah, so they do have it. Don't have to worry about the fact that they don't have it or anything.
Yeah, because like if they just didn't didn't have it, it would be like, yeah, obvious fix problem. But you gotta try a little bit harder, I think.
However, what they don't have that is a criminal miss, they are lacking steampunk piston hammers or steampunk styled giant power fists half the size of the dwarf who's holding it up.
So I feel like they kind of have steampunk hammers on some of the characters, or at least there's steampunky stuff that is hammer.
There is one, but I'm talking like an over the top. I'm trying to think of a video game that has it. I don't want to say Jace from League of Legends, mostly because I don't want to talk about League of Legends, but we'll go with that because it's the first thing I thought of, which is unfortunate for my memories.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of less on the hammer and more on, you brought up the fists.
Again, it's very Warhammer of like the power fist is obviously it's a 40k thing, but the idea of just a massive fucking gauntlet, like to just continue to be a degenerate for League of Legends a decade and a half ago. Vi's fists from League of Legends.
The fact that you brought up League of Legends and then like earlier it talked about steampunk fist weapons, I was like, oh, it's like Vi. That would be really cool. Honestly, that would actually fit really well with KO.
Yeah, you can just imagine the dwarf being like, I'm putting on my grudging fist, and it's just the size of him.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. So like the question there is it a character or are you trying to make like an elite unit?
I wanted this to be a more elite melee unit because they've got like a 5-man melee unit, and then they've got the like slightly larger one that's got kind of like improvised looking weapons, but they've got like the harpoon guys. So I want this to be your like heavy hitter melee, like your monster breaker. I imagine these guys, again, rules dependent. You park your ship next to a monster, these guys drop out of it, superhero slam down, and the monster has a terrible day.
And just turn them into paste. That sounds great. Honestly, that'd be really cool.
So what did you do?
I didn't think too hard about this one, I'll be honest. It was a meme idea that popped into my head and I couldn't stop thinking about making a character with a mechanical parrot companion.
Okay, that's cute.
I like I said, I did not fully flesh out the idea. I did not think about like how it actually fits, what any rules would be.
So you're saying you're applying to the Underworlds team.
But it was just one of those like mechanical parrot companion in KO with the like, pirate steampunky aesthetic going on. It was like, that just has to happen somehow, some way. Figure it out, make it happen. I think that would be very fun. And I think KO has some of that whimsy, the whole beard gun thing. They can do some of that. It doesn't have to just be mechanical precision.
Yeah, they're like the anarcho-capitalist, steampunky version of dwarves. They're allowed to have a little bit of weirdness to them. They're not all just vanilla dwarves.
So yeah, that's where I went. It didn't fill any spot in gameplay or like we need to have proper balance of the model. No, it's just want a cool model that has a mechanical parrot. So what do you have for Lumineth Realm-Lords?
This one I know we have talked about previously. The thing I want is Sylvaneth Kurnoth, except make them be bull people. Same size, same deal, them but bulls. Dual build kit.
So like the Bull Mountain.
Yes. So this would be between Elarith and Evelinor, the two mountain gods. It's between them in size and the normal Alarith troops to be like your elite unit.
Yeah, there definitely is a hole there. And that was also something that I was looking at. But I was like, Brad's going to have something with the mountain goat things. Because I'm pretty sure we've talked about this one before.
We definitely have. A few of these we talked in some episode when we were brainstorming up new units, but it wasn't like a dedicated episode. We got stuck on a tangent. So a few of these I know I've talked about my want for them before.
But yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, what did you got? Good English, asshole. No, that's staying in. All right, what are you doing for them?
So I don't remember what I actually said before. This might be the same thing, but I want an infantry unit that uses the fan as a weapon.
Oh, yeah. The character has that.
There's that one character, the Wind Mage, that has a fan and like a bell thingy. So he's got like the fan. And Dynasty Warriors has made fans cool to me as a weapon.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It sounds so dumb. And then you play Dynasty Warriors and you use a fan as a weapon and you're like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever.
And if you're worried people think it'll look dumb, you put some blades on it and then they're like, okay, I've seen this in a movie before.
Yeah. Or you can make them like big and kind of intimidating looking and stuff like that. So like there's potential to make a more interesting fan than the hero has, which is like a normal, I picked it up off the table fan. kind of thing. But yeah, I want like a proper whole like infantry unit that uses fans as their weaponry. I think that would just be a fun aesthetic to add to the whole like monk kind of idea. I think they could do something cool with that. But that means we're on to Seraphon, and I'm fascinated to hear what you have for Seraphon, because dinosaurs.
So let's do yours first. Did you choose a giant dinosaur?
I did not actually.
Okay, that's good. Then we didn't do the same thing. What do you got?
I want more skinks.
I'm not against that either. Skinks are adorable.
Yeah, we've got like the base skinks. We've got the Hunters of Hanchi, which are like kind of more elite stuff.
Yeah, they're chameleon skinks.
I want some like javelin skinks, dude. I think that would fit into the army pretty well, and they would be really adorable.
Skinks can have javelins. Well, they're spears, I guess.
That's not a javelin. If that's a javelin, I want it done better.
You're saying like throwing javelin, like sharpened stick.
Yeah, like a javelin, not a spear.
Okay. Sorry, in my head, javelin and spear are very much the same object.
No, because a spear you don't throw.
Yeah. You mean you're specifically saying javelin. Okay.
Very difficult concept. One stick that you hold and let people impale themselves. The other stick that you throw and impale them.
Yeah, very different. Definitely couldn't be fixed with a rule change.
Honestly, it is pretty different as far as I'm concerned. Like,
I get what you're saying of like you want to see a quiver of them on their back.
Like a proper javelin unit.
And it's probably not a full size spear. It's going to be like a smaller javelin that is thrown.
Yeah. And like not just tacked on to like the current skinks have javelin option, but like that's not right.
Yeah, because the thing is we have the boluses.
Yeah.
Which are like your ranged weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking for this to be like a more serious damage potential.
Basically.
Or a better switch hitter. Not that skinks are good at anything, but
having a bit of like focus on being a ranged attacker. I don't know. It feels like that would be a fun skink model. And I do think it is kind of a whole, because like they do technically have some, but it's not focused enough.
All right.
But what's the big dinosaur that you have?
How dare you, sir, assume that I would do this thing that I always do. I want another big dinosaur, obviously. I want like 12 of them, but I'll settle for one. So we've got a Triceratops in the Stegodons. We've got our T-Rex in our Carnosaurs. Going for like another classic. We don't have a Brontosaurus or an Apatosaurus, which actually the Brontosaurus is a thing again, archaeology-wise.
Is it?
It got moved. The name got used for a new discovered thing so that it would be a thing where you don't have to correct a child anymore.
That's also not confusing at all, though.
It's only confusing for people in our age group who got told it's not really a thing.
Okay. Yeah. I'm hoping that they're like reasonably similar.
Yes, they are.
Okay, then I'm fine with it. I'm just like, oh, it's actually like a water-based dinosaur.
No.
Great. Fucking awesome. I know what a brontosaurus is.
It's not a water type.
Right? Like, fuck me, dude.
But anyway, you've got like the newest Jurassic Park. Borrelio, do not use clips from this frickin' movie. I do not need a copyright strike.
Yeah.
But the newest Jurassic Park that Borrelio might be able to find one still from has very large something Apatosaurus like. I don't know what they are in the movie. Not that anything is super realistic at Jurassic Park. It's not the point. It's fun. A big long neck giant dinosaur and make it fucking big. We're talking the largest model we can make in AOS. Full Castellan Knight big.
So like not just fat, but also the neck has to be properly tall and like...
I want this thing to be like a problem.
Yeah.
You're going to have to cut a hole in your shelf to fit it on. Like he's going to be peeking his head another shelf up. I want him big. And then we cover him in, I forget what the actual term is called, but like a fortress that he walks around with. Skinks who have like ballistae on his back. There's a real word for this for like when they put it on an elephant.
Yeah, it was the Lord of the Rings elephants that they had in that one movie.
The internet has told us it's called a howdah.
Yes, that sounds right.
But yeah, so you give him a howdah full of skinks on his back. That's like the bigger version of what the Stegodon has. You just go to town with the design. You make it your big skink fortress. Like this is giant enemy crab except for it's giant brontosaurus.
And like because the neck's so tall, you could have like multiple layers to the howdah. So it's not just like...
Yeah, you've got like snipers up top. You probably have a wizard on his hat.
Wizard on his hat.
Yeah. I'm imagining with a hat. I'm sorry, I didn't give you the hat forewarning.
I was like, maybe I missed when you said hat, but obviously, right.
In my head, he had a hat. I didn't write it in my notes. GW, when you steal his idea, it's very important. He has a rice hat.
Oh,
I just think a brontosaurus in a rice hat is cute, okay?
I know it absolutely is. I'm here for it. That would be thoroughly entertaining.
All right. But yeah, I could go with literally, let's just go through dinosaurs. Why is there not a model for something like this yet? But you fantasy it up a bit. Iguanodons, first of all, already a very cool, weird looking dinosaur without even fantasyifying it. So, moving on, Stormcast Eternals, the poster boys, the Space Marines, etc., etc., etc. I really do like their third iteration now, the more realistic Roman armor where there's a lot more under carapace. But what are you thinking for the golden boys and girls?
Realistically, I've got nothing. They don't really have like a hole in like the rules part of the army that I could immediately look at. They've got several iterations of different armor. More dragons are cool. I'll take another dragon.
That's exactly what I picked. Sweet. Look, neither of us are Stormcast fanboys. Dragons are cool, though.
And like, there are more options, I guess, that you could do for a Stormcast infantry model elite unit. Look at Space Marines. They've got infinite potential, apparently, just for lieutenants. But dragons are cooler.
Do you really not have like anything specific for yours? Because if so, we'll go into my dragon one.
Honestly, I just kind of like gave up at a certain point because any dragon is going to be cool, and AOS is usually pretty good at like making cool shit for big monsters and stuff. So just another dragon, and I'm sure they'll figure it out. But if you have like actual thoughts.
So I do have thoughts, because right now dragons is either giant named character, technically a couple older ones of the old style of dragon that's a mount, right, for a different character, or the new Stormdrake cards.
Yes.
They're still very, very elite units. Like 2 dudes is hundreds of points.
As a dragon, it should be elite.
Yeah.
Don't even tell me you're trying to make a non-elite dragon. That's not a dragon anymore, Brad. That's a lizard.
I want the lowest part of this army now. Normally I'm looking for like the gap in the middle, but I want the thing below your Knights of the Round riding dragons. So my thought is you make it a small group still, like 2-3 still, of younger dragons who are still small enough they either don't have the ability to fly, or at least not with people on them, like for a lore explanation of why you don't have them being a flying unit.
Yeah.
And maybe you pair them with one, we'll call him a custodian for them or whatever, right? Like a babysitter. So there's one guy with them.
Your bird tamer.
Sure, except for like the dragons are intelligent creatures, but like, they're babysitter.
Yeah.
Have like one dude with them, just so that we can be like, look, it's not just dragons. There's still people in this army, even though dragons are cooler than this whole army. But you do that, you have them be on the ground so that we don't have to deal with the fact that their flying giant movement makes them automatically way more elite.
Yeah.
They still get their crazy flame breath, and they still get, dragon claws in combat, right? And teeth and whatever. And we make them just like probably like targeting a little over half the points of the Stormdrake Guard themselves. And then you've got your non-elite version that is your baby dragons, your normal dragons mounted by elite knights as your like main chunk of the army, and then you can get big fuck off dragon character.
All right. I'm less sold on this idea, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I think the problem is right now, if you want to go below proper dragon size, like if you want like something less elite, you have to start dipping into like dragoneths and stuff that are like lame, like the dumbass horse dragon. Like I want to have a proper dragon in that slot, even if it's just we've got a couple baby dragons who are still like a force to be reckoned with, but like in the grand scheme of dragons, they're small.
All right.
This is hole filling. Like if you're going with let's add more dragons, you're going to add more 500, 600 point models, which is not helpful for making it where you can play them. We already have those. We need other things that you can make a proper all dragon list that doesn't feel so extremely one-dimensional.
Yeah, it's tough for me because like you're trying to hole fill dragons, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, that isn't a hole in Stormcast Eternals. It's a hole for dragons.
Stormcast has no hole. It's Space Marine sized.
Yeah, like they have the Aether Wings and the Griffhounds, and like they have that like smaller size for those types of like flying shit. But for dragons, yeah, we don't have any proper baby dragons, partially because of the whole idea of war with a baby dragon. But hey, it's a dragon still.
All right, Sylvaneth's up next. What you got?
Yeah, Sylvaneth has got some pretty cool stuff lately, but I would like to see bees.
Oh,
And like a proper swarm of bees.
because Drycha is like the living hive lady. So you're thinking like actual bees is like a real unit.
Yeah, think like scarab swarm kind of stuff, like bees.
Okay, so you go, okay, yeah. Because we've got the like giant bugs. So you're thinking like still terrifying in real life if you're real life size, but small bugs in the scope of the bugs we're talking about here. Okay.
Yeah, very similar of like, we've got the big bugs and they're really cool. And we've got some of the smaller bugs, which, you know, like the cavalry size bugs, but we don't have any like...
Yeah, we're talking about bees that are only the size of your entire hand.
Yeah, the kind of bees that like, you know, Drycha would actually use properly. Like, that's my swarm that's gonna go kill shit. It's terrifying. It's a lot of bees.
That's cool, and that's not something I even thought of. This is better than what I have, so...
I think it would be interesting to see what an AOS team of modelers could do for like a proper like swarm of bees. I think there is a lot of potential in how it's properly posed and shown to be like intimidating. I mean, there's potential that it doesn't work out, but I do think AOS has the ideas of like taking the risks on stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be cool to see. What did you have then?
All right, so the Revenant side of the army, I think at this point feels pretty well fleshed out. I like put them all next to each other. I'm like, we've got options all over the place here right now. It's not like the deepest thing ever, but it feels like an army.
It has the holes filled, but like there could be obviously more duplicates and some changes here and there. But like, yeah, it's got the things figured out.
On the Kurnoth side of things with the Kurnoth and the Tree Lords, we've got Dryads who I despise.
Yeah, but we can't redo units.
No, we can't redo units. Kurnoth, who are our big chunky boys, like your big hyper elite unit, 3 dudes the size of freight trains, and then Tree Lords all the way up top. I think what I want is if you look at Lady of Vines,
that's a cool model.
She is size-wise between a Dryad and a Kurnoth. And I feel like what I want is something that doesn't feel like a swarm like Dryads do, where it's like the chaffiest, grossest thing that I don't think belongs in Kurnoth.
It does feel a little weird, yes, but...
So I want something that is like her size between the Dryad and the Kurnoth in size. A normal unit, like a 5-10 man, whatever, probably 5 man. That is like, we still probably go claws like you do with the Dryads, so that Kurnoth swords feel proper impressive as like the first real blade.
Yeah, so like the hunters have like, okay, you're the elite unit. You're proper scary.
But you probably do something where like some of them have like a bow arm or something. Like you can alt build it as like, you can either have people who have claws or the one where their arm is warped into a bow, where it'll look a little jank compared to like the Kurnoth's really beautiful bow. But like that way you've got, this is like a dual build normal unit.
So in the show notes, one of the Dryads is got like the limbs are kind of like bent up.
Yeah, and it almost looks like it's becoming a bow. Sure.
Yeah. But like do that, but like properly done to be a bow and not just branches.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like a tree person whose fingers grow into a bow and like their hand is just a bow.
All right.
And then they use their other hand to pull on the string they put on their bow, which is probably made of vine if we're being honest.
Let's fully embrace the idea.
We're trees, goddammit. We got one thing.
Yeah, I think in general, Sylvaneth has done a great job of like embracing that while still having some unique ideas.
And it's unique because everyone is like, oh, wood elves. But they're like, what if we remove the elves? Like, that's what it is. It's tree spirits and fucking tree people.
With some cool bugs.
With cool bugs. Like, it's awesome. It's way more interesting than just fucking wood elves.
Yeah, no, honestly, a proper unit, I think it would be 5 to like show a difference between like your generic chaff and then like, oh, this is like, these are proper warrior type things, but they're not Kurnoth Hunter with weapons.
And honestly, I'm not going to blame you, GW, if you just squat the Dryads after you make these and just pretend they didn't exist. They look awful. Let them go back to wherever you stole them from in Middle-earth or wherever.
I disagree. I think Dryads at that size and like general idea is good, but the current models don't really, I don't think they fit with a lot of Sylvaneth, especially the newest stuff. But like, I think that you could do a Dryads model better than this, and it would be great. But yeah, I like the idea that you've got there.
To be fair, though, bees is cooler. All right, that does wrap up order. So let's move into death next. Flesh Eater Courts?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got?
So we've got some cavalry of the Morbeg Knights.
Oh no.
But they're on bats, which look cool. Fun model. But I think we can use some horses that are like the undead ones. Like I'm thinking the ones that are part of the endless spells.
All right. So I was at first afraid we were going to end up on the same thing. We're actually having a disagreement, though. Interesting. Continue.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that was basically the idea of let's do another unit of cavalry because like I think they could use something there.
Sure. So you want a second cavalry unit that's probably a thinner, lighter cavalry because those are pretty beefy boys.
Yeah. Definitely a light cavalry.
And these ones will be on dead horses.
And we'll put them on dead horses, similar to like what the endless spell's doing there. So like you can see like, yeah, it's obviously a lighter cavalry in comparison to the Morbeg Knights.
Okay. Pointing out the endless spell helps defend your half of this. My half of this is my love of them thinking they're honorable Bretonnian knights riding glorious, beautiful white steeds into battle, and they're a ghoul on a bat.
Yeah. I love that idea. It is fantastic. So
because of that, I was like, absolutely no to horses. Instead, I want to continue this dude on a bat. So on the top end, this gets very close to the refresh line. This is what am I very close to asking for a refresh, but I'm specifically asking for a variant here.
Okay.
At the top of FEC, there was originally the ancient zombie dragon that can also become a Terrorgeist, right? That kit got updated on Soulblight Gravelords to be the new zombie dragon. They did not give it to FEC.
Which is a little weird, but
I don't think it is if what I'm asking for is the actual plan. Because that was a shared kit because death is kind of like a pulling apart into silos from just being shit that's dead that used to be in a big vampire pile.
yeah.
So now we've got like Nighthaunt to be ghosts. We've got Ossiarch Bonereapers to be Skelly boys. We've got Flesh Eater Courts to be zombie boys. And we've got Soulblight Gravelords to be vampires and stuff that serve vampires, which is everything, but the vampires are the focus there.
That is kind of the like everything else. But like Flesh Eater Courts gets a little bit of few things here and there. But yeah.
So Flesh Eater Courts is the ghoul zombie, that part. But they also have a huge bat aesthetic all over the place now. Like either by becoming bats or by having bats as mounts. So my thought is to give them their Bretonnian knight, the most honorable, greatest of knights, on his beautiful red dragon. But instead we continue with the Morbeg Knights and have it be not a Terrorgeist, because the Terrorgeist was like the halfway point between a bat and a dragon. I want a full-on gigantic bat.
Okay.
Huge bat with proper, mostly together wings still. Not like these like barely there wings. Like that's why these guys are ground pounders. I want big, impressive dragony, well, I want them to be bat wings, but dragony wings as far as he's concerned.
So like size of the old Terrorgeist, but more like the Morbeg Knights if their wings actually were wings.
Yeah, so like we actually replace, you lose your ghoul on zombie dragon, your Terrorgeist, you lose all that.
Sure.
And instead you get this kit. So now you have the updated zombie dragon for Soulblight Gravelords, and then this, which is its entirely different range, gets a whole different model.
And it's like properly different.
Yeah, we do not want you mistaking one for the other when these are next to each other. This gets close to the refresh line, because you could say that's just a Terrorgeist refresh if you name it the same. But like, I want this to feel like it's not part of a zombie dragon kit.
I see what you're saying. I do think that is different enough because like it isn't so much a refresh as it is that model isn't really part of Flesh Eater Courts.
Yeah, it's before Flesh Eater Courts was a thing.
Yeah, so like it got like an inherited part of that model and it doesn't really fit. So like instead of that, we're going to actually make a real model for FEC and like it's going to fill a similar hole and like do that kind of stuff just like properly done for FEC and not just inherited. I think that that's not really like I just want to refresh. It's a fix the range to actually have proper cohesion instead of what happened because of AOS and Old World and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on board with that. Honestly, that was one of the like confusing things getting into AOS was all of death being kind of confusing.
Yeah, and the fact that like when you actually look at like the beginning of second edition, when it was like Soulblight Gravelords and Nighthaunt split off because they were under like some Legion of Nagash or something was like the holdover thing, and then it was
weird. And so like expanding the range, the wish model being, yeah, it's replacing it, but the model it's replacing shouldn't have ever actually been part of the range. I am glad that we both kind of looked at it and were like, yes, the whole Knights aesthetic is cool.
Because FEC is gorgeous to me. I love this range through and through, other than ghouls. All ghouls suck. I hate the ghouls in this faction.
Do you count Oosh as ghoul?
No. The crypt ghouls and the other tomb ghoul.
Okay.
The two shitty little guys, the chaff units. Both of them are ugly. The one should have just replaced the other, and instead it's an addition to it, which kills me.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with that one. But I think they're fine as the chaff units.
Yeah, but once you're above them, I love everything to do with this army. Some of the kits are older and could use updates, yes, but everything is there. And the new stuff is gorgeous beyond all. You cannot tell me those are not the most gorgeous takes on like a mini that is a disgusting undead.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff.
There's so much character in them. Anyway, let's move on to sheet ghosts. Speaking of things with lots of character that are very interesting.
Nighthaunt. Let's start with you, I guess, because I feel like mine's not too bad.
Okay, mine is pretty simple. Every time I look at Reikenor, who's the guy on the zombie Pegasus,
with the cool scythe, yeah.
Every time I look at him, I wish there was more of the army that made me feel like he does. Because there's like the generic unit, the Dreadblade Harrows, that's like just two guys on normal ass horses. That sucks.
Oh, dude, I think those are cool.
No, I want a Pegasus unit that has like the whole thing his mount has, but probably just a bit smaller and a little bit less impressive looking so that the character stands out. But I want him with those guys.
Okay.
So I want the generic unit that he can go with and look like the dude leading these guys.
Yeah, all right. That would be cool. Because that model is awesome. And there definitely is like, there is a way to make the more generic version of that model as like a just like cavalry unit.
Yeah. So what do you got?
I want to do something just like a little bit different and also a little weird. So one of the things with Nighthaunt is they don't really have monsters.
Yes, because they're sheet ghosts. So what would it be? A bigger sheet?
Kind of. But I'm thinking let's do something like some of the early Bleach hollows.
Oh, fuck. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like not the later like Vastalorde.
No,
you're just a person that is
like the original hollows from the good part of Bleach. Yeah, I'm here for this. Giant like black monsters that are like
proportions are weird.
Almost want to say like putty. They've got like weird proportions. Yeah, and then like the big white mask.
Yeah, there's a few iterations of like different styles of hollow at that era of Bleach. So like it shows like you can do. It's obviously the same thing, but instead of being like tall and lanky in weird proportions, it's more squat and wide with an extra arm or like some weird proportion messing with it. So like it's properly like, oh, it's not normal.
Yeah, they always had like unique looking faces. One would have like a shaggy hair on its back or...
Yeah, add a little bit of flair to them. I'm thinking probably like a 3-man unit or something like that. Or you could make them just bigger and have it like a proper one elite monster kind of thing. But I think for Nighthaunt, we can just have them like a big monster 3-man unit that are like very similar to that, but have their own unique flair to it.
My problem with that is that's instantly the coolest thing in Nighthaunt to the point where I'm like, now change more of the range to be that.
Yeah, like expand that more.
It's my problem with the newest rework of Stormcast where I'm like, these look great, but there's the rest of the Stormcast range still.
Yeah, it's just one of those that trying to find a way to aesthetically fit a larger monster into Nighthaunt is kind of tough because like they're just sheet ghosts. But like I think you can do something playing with like proportions of, you know, the monster and like still have some of the holdovers of like maybe the feet aren't like fully fleshed out and they're kind of hovering or something like that, ghost like. But I do think Nighthaunt would benefit from having something monstery and not just my big thing is a black coach, which is a great model, very cool. I love that model, but like, come on.
All right. What you got for Ossiarch Bonereapers?
Can I just say I want the old world chariots?
Sure. They don't have a chariot. Yeah, that's fine.
It feels like it's a model update kind of.
No, it doesn't.
But like,
No. This is entirely different because they're not skeletons. They are like exoskeleton, almost like bug people, because they are skeletons as automatons.
right. You couldn't actually use the old world chariot skeletons. Those would look fucking stupid. Not even just from like, it's an old model. It would be like, that's not an Ossiarch Bonereaper. What happened?
Yeah, but like the cool part is the thing pulling the chariot doesn't have to be a horse because they could just cook up whatever they want to pull the chariot. Like they do have dudes on horses, well, close to horses.
Actually, you bring up a good point. The weirder it is, the better for a chariot. For Ossiarch Bonereaper, I think that's where you could really flex some AOS. We're going to make things cool.
And I think that works well with the point I have for what I asked for. So mine was, I want a second siege engine that isn't the bone catapult. The Mortek crawlers, I want a alternate siege weapon because when I was like looking into OBR and I was really debating going into it, one of the things I like is that OBR is like a proper historical army that's like a regimented army, unlike, the slapdash stuff that tends to happen in a lot of Warhammer stuff.
It does have some similarities to like Lumineth Realm-Lords of like, this is regimental army. You have potential staunch line of spears kind of memes.
This is much closer to like someone Rome would have been or fought.
Yeah.
So like getting into that aspect of it, I'm like, what are they missing that an army has? And I was looking into their rule stuff and I remember that they had like a whole battle formation that was about their siege weapons, but it's just the Mortek crawler. And I'm like, we should have some variance here because like just having a catapult is not very historically accurate when a lot of them would try cooking up all sorts of siege. Like you look at history and it's filled with attempts at siege weaponry.
Yeah, even just like a giant ballista is like, that's at least something.
Yep, that is the exact one I wrote, by the way, is I think a ballista, a bone lista.
A bone lista. Ooh, I like that. That goes great.
I think it works with their general aesthetic, and then you could have it where you've got it on legs or something creepy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So it just walks around instead of rolls around. You could do something with that, and I think it would work well because, again, like they're supposed to be a regimented army. They're supposed to have like all the things you would expect a normal army to have, and that's why your chariot thing works well because it's like that's another thing that they don't have that like historical armies had. And then you could go into I want chariots and cavalry, or I want all the siege stuff and some dudes to stand in front of it so that I can fire all my siege stuff over them.
Yeah, I like the siege idea, especially because there's just some aesthetic fun that you can do with that. It's similar in idea to like Skaven can have fun with some of their siege weapon. Ossiarch Bonereapers can really modify and have like go wild with it a little bit. All right, what do you have for Soulblight Gravelords though?
I think we picked the exact same thing because I just saw yours. I want a proper werewolf unit for Chadukar.
Yeah.
You look at the werewolf guy in the Ascuran Trueblades warband, which you literally posted on your list here.
Yeah, I was like, here's the Ascuran Trueblades. Here's the model I'm interested in of them.
I literally wrote this in my notes and then you pasted the image in yours.
I actually had another one because I was like, this seems so obvious Brad might do it.
Yeah, but I want him jacked. I wanted to feel like Chadukar is in charge of the workout regime for these guys. Because Chadukar's huge. Like, he's a big boy.
Yeah, he goes to the gym.
This thing is like up to his thigh. Like, I want the mid ground. Like, this is little baby stuff. We want his boys he works out with. He's still the biggest one by a whole half of a person, right? But like, we need jacked giant werewolf vampires to go with him.
Yeah, dude. It feels kind of like an obvious hole in the army from like just looking aesthetically at like the spread and you're like, yeah, but where's the like werewolf guy that goes with?
We've got his whole family is like all wolf themed, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't add any werewolf vampire unit. It's just all characters who are wolf themed and the only non-character is the fucking dead wolves.
Yeah. It's not what we really want for the combo there.
All right, so what's your backup since we did overlap and you did say you have a backup?
I'm on board. I like your idea. Like, that's the one if we had to wish. But as my backup idea, more rats like the Kritza, the Rat Prince.
I like the idea in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But when you add the whole game on top, I have the same question I have with him. This makes sense in a world where it's him and some normal mortal humans. But we have Skaven.
Yeah, that is the problem. And that's why like it was the backup.
It's always been my issue with him. He's cool. And in a different setting, damn, that's like a whole huge character design thing. Bro, we got Skaven. Why the hell is a vampire got a Skaven fetish?
I'm trying to remember, like there is some like old like novel like lore stuff, not Warhammer, of like rats associating vampire type stuff. So like it kind of makes sense, but then Skaven are just so cool and they're the rats. You couldn't really do more. It wouldn't make any damn sense. But like I said, that was like my like, this model is cool. I guess you could do more with it. But really it's the werewolf thing that you brought up.
All right. That is death over with. Let's do chaos. This is going to be kind of fast, I think, because we all know what I'm picking for most of these. I've talked about it because I play demons and I'm not going against type here.
All right. So which one do you want to start with?
Let's do Blades of Khorne. We'll just do it alphabetically like we've been doing.
Okay.
All right. Everyone knows I'm about to pick a bunch of demons for every chaos category where I can. That said, Khorne, I have the best excuse because Khorne needs caked up demons. How is the god of all things violent and fun mainly backed up by scrawny gremlin looking dudes with horns that are bigger than their entire torso?
Bloodletters are a little weird when you bring that up.
Right?
There's a lot of rage involved. I can see a lot of rage in their eyes, but looking at them compared to Scarbrand is like, what the fuck happened to the demons?
Just looking at them compared to the mortals who should be looking up to the demons.
That's true, yeah.
But anyway, so like we need big demons, beefy boys. It's frustrating that the Demon Prince is basically the best example of this, and that's a generic everyone can take it. And then you've got like Bloodthirsters, but that's like the tier way above. We want something that the mortals are comparable to, but are still slightly smaller than, and should always be trying to get Jack to live up to. And it's just not there.
They'll like look at the Skull Reapers or Wrathmongers or like the mortals.
Yeah, where's their big demon brother?
And then just like add like 10% size and like 50% more muscle, and then turn it demon with like some weirdness going on because like those proportions don't really fucking work. Do that. I'm totally on board, man. Because it is ridiculous. There are so many holes for demons.
Bro, we could spend hours talking about the holes for demons.
And so like I tried to stay away from just do demons.
Yeah, because you knew I was going to do it.
One, I knew you were going to do it. And two, it's like, yeah, we could use more demons. Even like as a primarily 40k player, please AOS, do more fucking demons. We might be able to get some.
I have that note in a later category, by the way.
Yeah. So like I tried to stay away from them a little bit. I actually had a very similar hole that I was like, there's like that spot of the mortals and then like the big scary like, character demons. Then there's like that mid ground. Fix it. And I was like, I guess you could do some like Bolgor, like a Cygor could be kind of neat.
Okay. So get into like, look, Beasts of Chaos is gonzo. Get over it. Let's start adding in proper beastly things to the rest of Chaos now, because it's not banned to, well, why wasn't it a Beast of Chaos model?
Exactly. Because like there's a lot of cool potential there, and I don't want the beasts to go away. And I think like Bolgor work to fill that spot in Blades of Khorne that you were bringing up. If we're not doing a demon, which we should do a demon, but alternatively, here's the potential. So what do you want to talk about with Tzeentch?
Okay, so Tzeentch. Technically, I didn't choose one, which is very Tzeentchian of me. Our lack of demon variety is straight up criminal. The god of all things weird and strange.
Yep.
We have essentially 3 demons. One of those demons is a twisted up t-shirt with flames coming out of it.
I like that one.
I hate it, but you've never painted one.
From it's weird demon thing, it's more weird than Stingray.
I would argue Screamers are the best example of Tzeentch. Of you've got the spider eyes mixed with a stingray, mixed with the weird teeth all over that aren't part of a mouth, and then it's got the little mouth underneath that doesn't have the teeth. It's really good and weird. We need more stuff like that. However, what we need is variety, because this is Tzeentch. So I don't have a specific one for Tzeentch. What I want us to do, we're going to take GW's 3 best artists that everyone agrees have made the coolest shit recently. We're going to lock each of them in a dark room after drugging them without their knowledge. Then we're going to play horrifying sound effects and gross, wet, sloppy sounds and screams and all sorts of stuff over an intercom into the room. Once they're sobered up a few hours later and they're done pissing themselves, we now make them take whatever they imagined on that drug trip and make a demon out of it. And yes, that means I cheated and chose 3 new demon kits, but we deserve it, goddammit.
It's hilarious that, dude, I'm totally on board. And in the same
You're totally on board with drugging GW employees? Good. We have a plan for this weekend.
in the same vein, I was like, I'm gonna try and stay away from demons because I know Brad's gonna do that, and like that's great because they need them. But like, I couldn't do anything other than weird demon thing for Tzeentch. I also don't have a do this specific thing. No, fucking make it weird. All right, this is Tzeentch, magic demon. Make it fucking weird. This is also AOS team. You should be okay with like making a model that some people will hate because some other people will absolutely fucking love it.
Yes. And as a Tzeentch player, if you're already a Tzeentch player, chances are, as long as it's weird, we love it.
Yeah.
Except for the actual Flamer kit, because the actual Flamer kit is so terrible to paint.
Yeah. I mean, I think it does a fine job of being like weird demon thing. But what do you have for Slaanesh though?
I did not do a demon.
Oh my God.
Bonus points if you make it a demon anyway.
Fair enough.
This could technically just be immortal. So my thought with Slaanesh when I was looking at the range. Slaanesh has 2 main aesthetics, goats and crabs. Goats aren't creepy. They're just ugly sheep. That's like geese. They're not creepy. That's just an ugly duck.
Yeah.
Crabs, though, are freaky as shit. To the point where in IDK, when I did the Fortress Crab and was Googling pictures, I'm like, crabs are creepy as shit. I love eating them, but they're weird motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's from the ocean. Like, if you really look at shit from the ocean, it's creepy.
But Slaanesh is all about excess and not just sex, which is like what Slaanesh gets shoehorned into a lot of just put booby on it. So what I'm asking for is to show off excess by the person who couldn't say no to just one more limb. Just one more limb. It'll solve all the foot traffic problems in this damn walkable city. I half did it for that joke. I got a chuckle out of Eric. My job is done.
Mildly shocked that you didn't also have a joke for masturbating while doing stuff, but yeah.
No, because I don't want it to be a sex-based thing. I want this to be creepy tons of limbs, and it's just a bunch of crab limbs all over this person where there should not be.
So like the Fiend Bloods?
They're like the baby version of this.
They only have normal proportion, like 2 leg, 2 arm, but they're crab.
Yeah. No, we're going hard.
Yeah, okay.
But bonus points if it's a demon, because then us 40k players get some water in this fucking desert of cool chaos shit. All right, what do you got, Eric?
So I also was thinking of what's the other parts of excess that Slaanesh is trying to show off. And they've got Gluttus or Scullion, Lord of Gluttony.
Yes, the big cool ass character on his like gigantic throne thing pulled by dudes who are crab gimps.
Also crab, yeah. So it was like, let's explore the excess of gluttony a little bit more. And we can actually like fill a hole in the gameplay part that is dude that'll sit on a point.
They kind of have this rules wise, but I get what you mean from a aesthetic standpoint. Yes.
From a like, it looks like that's the one, that's the shield that's not moving.
This is where there's an aesthetic issue of, I agree with you, Slaanesh, excess, food, gluttony, 100%. However, I know that GW's had this issue when they've been doing this of, I made a Slaanesh guy, he's gluttony, he's big and fat, and they go, bro, that's a Nurgle dude.
Yeah, that is definitely an aesthetic issue that you have to pay attention to, but like Nurgle also has the like, it's obviously rotting, whereas the Slaanesh fat is more clean.
They more prefer like personal mutilation.
Yeah.
Lots of overdoing piercings and body modifications.
Yeah, and I think like maybe part of like the unit is like a wheelbarrow of food that somebody's carrying around or something like that. Like, you know, like really show it off a bit.
The guy carrying his stomach on a unicycle.
Yeah.
Something truly out there that shows like this guy is not okay.
Also make sure that it's not Nurgle. They're not okay because it's just bloating gas. Like, no, this is properly fat because eating because of excess kind of thing. Fully go into that. And then it gives you an aesthetic that's the unit that can sit and defend a point.
Yep. That's going to be a bunch of wounds.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have to expect that doing anything else, but I know what is going to happen here.
I get it. I am here for it.
Because I do think we're both on the like, let's continue to expand other than sex for excess in Slaanesh.
Not that we're against boobies on things.
No.
Let's add more boobies on anteaters. That's not weird.
It's not weird at all.
Thanks, fiends.
What about Helmsmiths of Hashut?
Okay, so this one is like very cheating. It's very clearly half a range, and we're about to get another half in another couple of years. So like,
Yeah.
look, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. Well, we fucking hope.
True. This one is tough just because like it's such a new range. There's so many options. Like we literally have a ranged unit and a melee unit. I guess also the grots, but like
Yeah. All right. So for mine, look, the metal minotaurs call to me.
yeah.
We need more of whatever the hell that aesthetic is.
The Dominator engine.
Yeah, I want big, tanky metal monsters made of machines and dark magic and billowing smoke.
Yeah.
And honestly, I probably would go with something like a Cyclops or a Chimera that is something like a classic Greco-Roman monster to match our current like Minotaur, our winged bull that's like a bull Pegasus. Like we've got stuff that feels very inspired by like that Mediterranean mythos. We go with more of that, but we stick on the chunky side and keep the slender stuff from that general aesthetic for Daughters of Khaine to have. That's where you have your Medusas. And that's why I want to keep like your Chimera half over here, your Cyclops, your Minotaur, and have that as like the almost like the opposite of how Daughters handles it, of like they're the two sides of the coin.
Wow. The elves and the dwarves. Shock.
But like it makes sense to have like both aspects of your Greco-Roman mythology and et cetera, et cetera. You get two different varieties of it that are like someone identifies and goes, that's a Minotaur, because I know literally any mythology, but that is unique. That is not just a Minotaur.
They can both hit the Hollywood aesthetic of that idea, then have their own unique take on it.
Yes. I want more of that. Literally take your pick. Favorite of the bunch, Chimera. Why not?
Yeah, mine similar. Yeah, we could do some more bowl aesthetics type stuff. I feel like I'm on board of like some more artillery, but like part of that is just because I think the Chaos Dwarves in Warhammer 3 have some cool artillery, and their current cannon, Death Shrieker, rocket battery thingy is awesome. So I want to see more of it. But you could do so much just because it's like there's 12 models or less or something like that.
All right, let's move into Nurgle then. What do you have for Nurgle? Nurgle was kind of difficult for me until I found the thing I loved the idea of.
I feel like it would be kind of neat to have some like rot trolls, Troggoths. There's just an aesthetic that feels like it would work. Something like, you know, like between the Beast of Nurgle and Great Unclean One in the like size range, right?
Okay. It's very funny you're saying this. Continue.
And then like, yeah, make it like a Troggoth or something like that. I think there's some ties that the war has for that being a potential. I don't know. It feels like it should. Rot, swamp troll just kind of works in my brain. I feel like that would be pretty awesome. Honestly, Nurgle has a solid range. There's a good amount of stuff. I don't know. I didn't see any like obvious hole that was like, gotta have this. What did you have?
Okay. Nurgle has a tentacle theme that you've probably seen all over. They've got it in 40K. They've got it in AOS. It's all over a bunch of models, but it's never really fully committed to as like a,
like, here's your tentacle monster.
Here's a tentacle monster. And you could argue a tentacle monster for most Chaos Gods, maybe not Khorne. Maybe if it was holding 8 axes, then Khorne would like it.
Yeah, you could do it. But yeah, it's probably best. Well, maybe Slaanesh, but
Slaanesh would be your other one. However, so my note here is obviously it should be fat as hell, because
Yeah.
that's Nurgle's central design, which gets back into the problem with doing gluttony for Slaanesh, etc. So we want a really fat octopus monster, riddled with gross infections, like absolutely disgusting. Probably painted with a gloss varnish to make it look super slimy in any shots, right?
sure, yeah. That's gross. Fucking disgusting, but perfect.
Yeah, like super gross. I want this thing glistening. And I don't want it to be as tall as the Guo or the Glotkin, but I want it to be as wide as them and really impressive. Like this is a centerpiece that is the tier below them, but is still as fucking big on a footprint standpoint. Visually, like we want it where you go, oh, it's a Great Unclean One and it's pet. Like this is the final form of a Beast of Nurgle. Not literally, but like this is the final form of a Beast of Nurgle. Gigantic, gross Nurgle dog.
I see why you say it's funny, because like we're both thinking the same same like size spot kind of thing, just like in very different ways.
Yeah, I clearly want it octopus shaped. Very clearly you go with 7 limbs just for the Nurgle number. Maybe 3 disgusting eyes in the middle for the other Nurgle number. Get all your Nurgle loves numbers, man.
I think I like yours a lot better just because it is shocking how there isn't anything like that. Like there are like tentacles around and stuff, but like they don't actually commit to it. And a proper demon would work.
All right, Skaven, who just got a massive range. What do you have for Skaven that they still need? That isn't just refreshing something ancient.
So I was thinking like maybe we could do something a little bit more with like rat amalgamations, the Hell Pit Abomination, the Brood Terror.
This is where I am, Clan Molder.
But honestly, I kind of want to see some more rat ninjas.
Okay, sure. You want to go the Eshin route?
The Night Runners, but like actual elite ninjas, not whatever the fuck these are.
Not chaff. Yeah. You want the elite actual ninjas.
Yeah, the like, oh, those are scary ninja rats, not Night Runners.
An elite unit of ninjas for the character to lead.
Yes. It doesn't really fill any like gameplay holes or anything. It's just Eshin's cool. And like you could make some really fun rules for an elite assassin-y ninja type thing. Like you can play around with that and like there's potential there. But what did you have? Because I felt like you were probably going to do some rat amalgamation type
Yeah,
thing.
you knew I would.
Okay.
Clan Molder here. Scryer is my favorite. Clan Molder is my other favorite. Eshin's cool.
I mean, Skaven's cool.
Skaven in general is awesome. Everyone loves Skaven, man.
There's honestly a good amount of Skaven, and there's always potential for more.
So while I want to say like modernized Hell Pit Abomination would go hard, I'm not doing a refresh. So let's do something that's Molder unit between Rat Ogres and the Abomination / Brood Terror. The Brood Terror is smaller than the Abomination, but we're like that's your top end. Rat Ogres are your low end for what Molder cares about. So we want the middle ground.
Are we thinking like just like bigger Rat Ogres or
No.
like actually like...
So my thought here is something that's more warped and twisted than a Rat Ogre. Play into the real rat's more horizontal shape that the Abomination kind of does, but then it does the S shape upward. I want to play more with the horizontal shape of a rat, especially because you can make some really fucked up looking rats.
That's true.
And then size wise, we want it comparable to the Storm Fiend, but again, like more long, less tall.
More like rat, less person rat.
This is going to score highest score of Rat Roundup. But we don't want it to be techie hybrid scryer. We want this to be the Molder pure version. You still want it to have some sort of like grotesque gun coming out of it in an unpleasant place or something, right? Like Molder loves doing that still. It's not scryer exclusive. Like you want this to be a disgusting, poor creature you feel bad for what happened to it. Kind of like I feel when I look at the Brood Terror.
Kind of like the Brood Terror. There's some similar theming ideas.
Honestly, looking at models in other ranges, I'm thinking something like the rat version of the Karkadrak in STD, which is the mount for the Lord on Karkadrak, the like lizard thing.
Okay, yeah.
That thing, but rat. Give me like 2 or 3 of those in a unit, bioweapon popping out of it somewhere really gross. There's your rat monsters.
I like it.
And this gives you your Molder. You've got your Master Molders that are leading a bunch of Rat Ogres. This new unit, you throw in a Brood Terror and a hopefully refreshed Hell Pit Abomination. Boom, Molder army.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like it. Honestly, it does feel like there is kind of a missing connection there that this model would fill. I feel like it would allow you to do more thematic lists.
Look, Skaven is that one where like it has so many distinct sub-factions that everybody loves because they're so wildly different. You have Eshin for ninjas, Scryers for steampunk science rats, Molder for disgusting mutated rats from hell. There's so many varieties, and then your more classic ones, your What If Nurgle but rat.
What if Nurgle but
Pestilence
rat?
bores me. I don't like Pestilence.
It has less of the AOS weird factor.
Yeah, there's so many ways that you could take Skaven and like just add more stuff. And now I get to play more of a Molder army, more of an Eshin army, more of a Scryer army. Like I want depth to these different ones because you love all of them.
Yeah, it is one that like we brought up the problem of having rats in other factions just because like Skaven have like the monopoly monopoly on it because they do it so well. But what do you have for Slaves to Darkness? Because I didn't have anything great.
All right, let's do yours first because mine is my longest rant. I have several paragraphs.
Okay, because my only thing is I want a ranged weapons unit. I don't even fucking care how they do it.
Okay, that's fascinating. Let's dive into something I'm going to sales pitch you.
I literally have, you could do however you need to do it, just make it happen. It doesn't even have to be good. Just make it ranged weapons unit, please. Please.
GW project manager listening to this, please listen to the sales pitch and go find funds.
What do you got?
All right, so it kills me going through STD's range and seeing all of these cool, unique monster designs and awesome beasts and all this stuff. They have very different, unique designs that I love, but there's no proper way to play a menagerie.
True.
Like, I want Einhar to give you one that only you will get. I'm not going to explain it to the audience.
Yes.
So to explain this in Warhammer terms, there is a Dark Elf character in Total War who is the menagerie character who gets to play with all of the monsters from all the other factions as the guy who owns a zoo.
What if Zookeeper, but evil?
Yeah. I want this. So hear me out here. So we've got the Mindstealer Sphinx. I don't know how to pronounce that word. The Wilder Fiend, the Gore Beasts that are pulling the chariot, the Fomeroids, whatever the hell Abraxia's mount is, the Centurion, Ogroids. We've got two different ones there. Yeah, they're a little Beast of Chaosy, but that's fine. The Karkadrak, the Slaughter Brute, the Mutalith Vortex Beast, whatever that Not a Horse is that Eternius rides. All of these cool ass monsters, half of which only exist to be a mount. They don't have like proper kits. They're not in any, it's just some random guy's horse.
Yeah.
So if you ask me to expand SCD at this point, instead of just another variant of totally not a cultist or totally not a space marine, I would say give me a budget for some sick ass named character Beastmaster. We'll make a generic version too. We'll probably make a mounted generic one too. So we've got 3 different types of characters you can do. The named one probably has to be on a big dragon or something like your classic fantasy of the be all end all that someone's going to want.
Honestly, a dragon feels boring in comparison to like the rest of the monster mash.
Yeah,
right?
monster, not specifically dragon.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Of like make it obviously impressive even in comparison to the rest.
And then you have them leading a menagerie of these other types of units that we make proper units for the ones that are stuck as mounts. And then we add rules in for having them all play together. I guess technically if I had to pick only one of these, I'm going to pick the named character one or whatever that we just make as like your, or maybe the generic that's on a mount so that we have like one thing to do this with to start with. And then we try to get budget for the rest. But like, I want to play the literal monster mash really bad, like absolute chaos incarnate. Every single unit I have in this list looks nothing alike. This is what chaos is, baby. Like Borrelio, throw all of those things I named up on screen in like a fake list together, crop out the riders real quick with a shitty crop out and like show what it would look like to have a bunch of those things in an army together. That's what I want. Imagine a big creepy dragon monster thing with a dude on it, a couple guys on foot with some whips and like giant choker collars to tame the beasts with. Act as their controllers, buff them, all that.
It's totally doable and it would be cool. It would add some extra cohesion.
And it helps make a bunch of the like one-off, these don't have any synergy with anything, now have synergy with each other in the fact that they're all the one-offs that don't have any synergy with anything.
Right.
Like you now have made a part of the army.
Like it was almost purposeful, not a, oh fuck, we have all these models.
Not a, we just keep designing one-off monsters and then making the kit being Slaves of Darkness because it looks chaosy.
Yeah, where else are we going to put it? No, I'm with you. That's awesome.
All right, we are on to the last of the Grand Alliances, Destruction. And let's start off with the adorable little Gloomspite Gitz, Eric. What do you got?
All right. There are like a few like parts of this army.
There are a few.
And a couple of them need refreshes.
Yeah, that's cheating though.
Desperately.
That's cheating. You cannot just do this.
But since we can't do that, the Spider Fang part needs more models to actually be enough to like do.
Unsubscribe from this idea. Just delete them. They're gross.
Particularly, they need something that's infantry adjacent, at least. If it's not like proper infantry, it needs to be, you know, like, oh, that's a unit of spider infantry that would fill the role of infantry, even if they are maybe monsters. I don't know.
Unsubscribe from Eric's idea. Steal the money from that project to fund more Troggoths.
Troggoths are another one that definitely need a little bit more. But the problem is like the spiders really are are just like, big characters or spider riders.
Yeah, that's true. And they're ancient either way. They're all old world era.
So like you can't make like a proper spider fang part of the army and like have any like actual cohesion. It's just not actually possible, which is disappointing because I think it is a fun part of the army. Even the old models are kind of cool, ignoring arachnophobia.
The old models are so old they don't trigger arachnophobia.
Yeah, so it's one of those that like, yeah, there's so many models that like I specifically would be like, yes, redo these so I can enjoy playing with them when get into Gloomspite Gitz. But since we can't do that, I think we do need something infantry sized, fill that hole for Spiderfang. Brad, I'm assuming you wanted something Troggoth.
Look, we all knew I was going to add a Troggoth. I'm a man of many tastes, and most of them are big, dopey, dumb-looking guys who are a horribly fucked up version of some children's book troll.
I don't even think you're wrong that like there is a hole for Troggoths that like you could have another model.
So I was looking at it, and I was like thinking of how I want to expand Troggoths. And honestly, the Fellwater Trogs, who are 100 years old and ugly, like terrible model, are perfect for this because they show off that Trogs can have variety based on like where they live and stuff like that, right? Like they're supposed to be like your river trolls.
Yeah. You're not stuck with just like, oh, this is like the dank hold Troggoth and everybody else looks kind of like him.
Yeah. So because of that, I'm like, okay, we can do a variety of different Trogs of different types from different locales. Like most of them will still be your Mystic Mushroom standard dank hold ones. However, can I get a group of drunk volcanic Trogs?
Nice.
They're lugging around jugs and whole pots and cauldrons of lava that they're just getting blitzed drinking. They're drinking lava and drunk as a skunk from it somehow. The magic of destruction, baby.
That's weird and like actually would fit pretty well with the whole Gloomspite moon stuff of nonsense going on.
Exactly. And it plays into like the Gloomspite is the like funny haha cartoon violence, except for with the horrible end results of, oh God.
Yeah.
And I kind of love the idea of like, these are your drunk hooligans, except someone's actually gonna die.
And that fits really well with Gloomspite Gitz.
Yeah, and like you can just have them more aesthetically rocky and lava-y, right? From like, don't make them made of lava, but make them like aesthetically like these guys hang out in volcanic areas. And then you have them with these big like cauldrons and pots of lava that they're getting blitzed off of, and then they just share it. They're having a drunken party and they're just whipping around lava splashes on people. One of them clubs you with his giant jug. That's a giant like obsidian jug. We can make this where they look like they're having a party and it's horrifying.
I love the idea that you're bringing of like, let's expand Troggoths and also like expand the like adding a unique flair to them.
Almost making them like a magical elementally thing based on like Fellwater. Obviously you refresh that at the same time. You've got your pukey gross river trolls, and then you've got your drunken volcano trolls to go with them. And then you've got your dank hold standard ones. And then maybe we expand from there and we get into like different varieties.
If you're doing that, you can also expand some like smaller like Fellwater Troggoth type thing, but like style them as like, oh, they're the smaller ones, so we can actually have a proper full army of Troggoths.
Yeah, you make one be a mage character. You know, you do stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, I like it.
I love Trogs. All right, moving into ogres next. What you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat a little bit.
Of course you are.
The Icefall Yetis.
Oh yeah, I almost cheated. You're good. Go off.
From an idea, they fit really well.
Yep. This is in my own notes here of yep, you're good.
They're like thematically great. I love this. The models themselves are terrible. Oh my God. They look so bad.
Yeah, it should be a big fuck off Yeti, not 3 gangly drug addicts who got the inside of a pillow glued to them.
Especially in comparison to the rest of the range. The rest of this range does not help the Icefall Yetis look okay. But like from an idea, they work so well. So like I want more Icefall Yetis, but make them bigger. That's my cheating way of saying like redo the fucking Icefall Yetis and expand it.
Yeah. You're not asking for a refresh of those. You want them deleted, and coincidentally we make big fuck off Yetis who deserve to be there.
Yeah. So what did you have?
All right, so I put a little bit of thought into this one.
All right.
Ogor Mawtribes is really hard to not ask for refreshes for.
Yeah.
They're fucking old.
A bunch of them still look pretty decent in comparison to the rest of the range.
Some of them look great. Almost all of the ones that look decent still that are older are Beastclaw. Beastclaw's coolest. So we're definitely going to add Beastclaw Raiders if we're going to add something, because it's just the cooler part of the army to me. The giant Ice Age monsters is like the aesthetic here looking at it. So like just we need something that is big compared to the ogres to feel right. And I love the Ice Age aesthetic we've got going on with the monsters to match the Everwinter theme. Okay, we're good. We'll stick with this.
Yeah, you got like the mammoths and like that idea.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So looking at megafauna from actual history, you've got big cats, which technically we have covered. Ancient fine cast model.
Yeah.
Terrible looking. Mammoths, which we have covered.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition, when I was going through this, the ones that stuck out to me, sloths, beavers, bears, and armadillos all had giant versions in the Ice Age.
So we're going with beavers.
Yes, all 4 of them. But beavers was my standout.
It is the kind of like what?
No, because like think about it. We're not just putting a beaver, right? So all of them have excellent potential for a crank it to 11 in a fantasy setting, make it like super fucked up. Like you look at the current mammoths we have, those don't look like a mammoth, but your brain goes, that's based on a mammoth. I get it.
Yeah.
I want something that is clearly based on a beaver, clearly based on an armadillo, clearly based on a bear, clearly based on a sloth.
I feel like the bear one is the easiest and the most difficult because like bears are already.
You have to make it feel different than a bear.
Yeah. Hey, bears are already kind of scary.
And sloth, I specifically didn't do as my example because Kruleboyz have their lizard sloth. That is an amazing model. But because they have the lizard sloth, I'm like, let's go with beaver first. And like thinking of it, like when you look at like the mock-ups of what the Ice Age beavers looked like, they're kind of fucking terrifying. They're the size of a person. But like obviously we want ones the size of an ogre. So we're going crank it to 11 fantasy. We just want big, girthy designs. Got a Halo big in there. And of the bunch, I want to go with beaver because I can imagine lore-wise an ogre directing a beaver the size of an elephant to do like camp construction or to purposefully screw up a river so that he can extort locals and then get gold off them and then probably eat a couple. This is such an ogre thing to do because the ogres are like, they're not brainless idiots. They're a society that is, they will do business with you. They will also possibly eat you. And I love that aspect of like having them be like mildly decent engineers when it comes to like the basics of doing stuff like putting a dam together to fuck over a local populace and get money out of them. Like this is so correct in my head.
Yeah, I'm on board. And I just took like a quick look at like the beaver Ice Age idea. Yeah, there's definitely potential, especially if you properly let like an AOS model designer have their fun with it. I feel like you went a little bit too lore heavy, but like it does show that there's potential to do unique stuff.
Yeah, rules wise, you don't have to have anything about that, but I'm just imagining it like from a lore angle. It feels like it fleshes out ogre society more to have this model suddenly. You can see that being in the background of a cutscene. And like it's world building built right in.
Yeah, no, that is cool. I like it.
All right, Orcs is up next. I assume we split Orcs into Ironjaws and Kruleboyz. Yes, I didn't tell you to do this, but I did it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because we're splitting them because they should not be in the same battle tome. Because that would be like putting all of the elves in one book because you're a closet racist. GW, you'd never do that, right, 40K team?
Totally not. All right, starting with Ironjaws. So mine's kind of dumb, and I don't have a reason for why it should exist rules wise, but I want a like big fucking drum musician.
Eric, I want you to know I have you so pegged at this point. I was doing my own Ironjaws one, figuring out what I wanted, and I saw the War Chanter. I'm like, I feel like Eric wants to make orc musicians. Like I was just stuck on that in my head, and then you fucking nailed it.
Yeah, my notes, some musicians. All they have is the War Chanter. Let's get a big fucking drum.
I'm with you of like, I feel like orcs would absolutely do this.
And I'm talking like a big fucking drum.
Like a giant giant gong and like oversized giant centerpiece cacophony unit.
We're talking like size of like the mega boss on Maw Crusher. Fucking big model. This is a goddamn big drum.
To basically be a terrain piece almost. Use it to send out WA buffs.
We'll figure out the rules later. It feels aesthetically like there is such potential there for Ironjawz to like really embrace that nature of go big, make loud noise, and like drums fit that aesthetic. I feel like I think it would be such a cool model. So what do you have? Because I'm assuming you didn't also go with a big fucking drum.
No, I'm just so glad that in my head I had that thought for that second there, and damn, I'm good. So Ironjawz has been eating good recently, right? They've got a bunch of cool new kits. The boars are cool as shit.
Oh yeah.
I love the new giant boar. I love the idea of weird boys, right? Like I'm never going to be against weird boys existing. However, I feel like Ironjawz is the perfect place for us to get a different type of wizard that is not the usual weird boy we think of. I want an Auric wizard who is jacked as fuck.
Okay.
Like Clan Molder level of fuckery. I want him to basically just channel warp energy or whatever we're calling it here for AOS magics, right? Channel Gorka Morka magic to jack him to the nines. Like he has all of this power and he's like, I just want to get bigger. And I think he should have like an impossibly large hammer, like hilariously oversized, larger than most orc models. His one arm is huge as fuck to swing it. His other arm is not quite there, and he used that one to magic up the first arm.
Dude, I fucking love this. I'm actually so glad you did this, because like my other idea was, doesn't the weird knob shaman just look dumb in comparison?
Yeah, because he's just a weird boy. Like he's a little guy. And weird boys are allowed to be that because they're wizards.
But like you put them next to like the mega boss and just even the normal like Ard boys, and you're like, wow, what the fuck happened to you?
And again, in orc culture, weird boys are called weird boys because other orcs don't get them because they're weird.
Yeah.
But we've got the weird boot. We've got the weird brute Rekkas. That took a couple tries.
Yeah, all those weird boobs.
I want this guy to be like their fucked up acid tripping gym trainer. You put him next to these guys and you're like, suddenly they're the normal ones who are under training to get more stupid.
I love it, man. That's great.
Please, GW, steal that. It's such a fun idea.
Yeah, I do like the hammer idea as well.
Yeah, I want it not just an axe. Like a lot of orcs have a big axe that's unreasonable to expect something the size of them to swing an axe that size made out of metal. That's physics. But I want this to be ludicrous. I want this to look so dumb.
And like that would also kind of fit the like less of a weapon and more of a weight that we're lifting.
Yes.
Kind of aesthetic. Then like the giant axes are super awesome. Very cool. Love it. But like.
And like bonus points if on the war scroll we've got some gains joke.
Yeah.
Like it's just orky enough that you're like, this is fucking perfect. All right, on to the other half here with Kruleboyz. What do you have? I'm afraid we picked the same thing because I picked something that's so you.
So this was tough because, like, honestly, Kruleboyz is fine.
I disagree. They're missing something very important.
Yeah.
You're going to agree the second I tell you what I picked.
It's possible. I went with some type of fun cavalry. My idea was like, let's have them use a weird, like, big toad. Something swampy, properly swampy, but not alligators. Like, that's too scary.
I have a different take. I think alligator fits Kruleboy better because Kruleboys are specifically the not haha funny. They're the Joker mode version of orcs. Like, they're the creepy fun time is over orcs.
Yes. But like alligator type stuff is too, I don't know. To me, an alligator is too efficient at being
a killing machine.
A killing machine for Kruleboyz.
I disagree with something I'm going to say in mine.
If they did go with it, it could look really cool and I'd be for it. But I feel like something that's like properly swampy, like toad, poison.
Sure. I'm imagining the Gitrog monster before he became a comic relief character.
Right. Because it does have to still be properly killy, angry orc kind of thing. Like Kruleboyz are supposed supposed to be cruel. So it can't just be like, oh, it's a cute little frog. But yeah, I'm thinking something cavalry style.
And I feel like I can see a Kruleboy model where he's like literally strapped onto a frog that's doing like half of a backflip as he's like trying to spear someone below him. I can see that.
I think it has potential and it could be a fun model. But now I'm interested where you think there's a hole.
Okay, so Kruleboyz are supposed to be the sneaky killy gits. However, if you look at their range, why is there no commando equivalent?
Fair enough, yeah.
Like, just look at the 40k commandos, the greatest orc kit of all time. I want that, but you play it more straight because Kruleboyz, the fun is over, the shank you in an alley type of orc.
Yeah, like let's get the proper military propaganda video of special forces coming out of the swamp.
Yes. I want that combined with, instead of like doing in 40k because it's funny orcs, we've got the squig bomb and all that, and the grot ninja, whatever. Scrap those. Add the creepiest shit monkeys from the Monster Killers Warcry team.
Okay.
Those two horrifying monkeys. There's something about some poor idiots getting ambushed and murdered by a couple of those creepy monkeys that sounds so awesome.
Yeah, those creepy monkeys would kind of fit.
Those aesthetically are like, to me, what makes Kruleboyz and not normal Aurochs.
Yeah.
Because like they don't fuck around. There is no like, they look kind of cute in a weird way because like they're the musclehead idiots. These are the like creepy lanky dudes. Everything about them feels more fucked up. And that's why I was like, I think alligators could work with them because they are the ones who would use an efficient killing machine.
It is possible. Like part of what I was looking for was like, if you had alligators, they would have to be properly good and then they would cost too much points.
Sure.
Is where I was like, from a rules point list building thing, it just didn't fit. But you can always massage the rules to do what's necessary for the edition.
I also don't hate your idea of like the toad / frog like, because like whenever we mention these, we're talking about like a fantasy animal that you go, that's inspired by this creature.
It's not actually a fucking toad.
Not just a toad, yeah. But I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
That can still be taken seriously and get creepy.
But I'm with you on like a proper commandos. Because like the thing is in general, all of them, like all the Kruleboyz are kind of that commando, will do whatever is necessary, scary type thing going on. But like actually having a unit that's fully embracing it.
Yeah, they've got all this like sneaky stuff in their rules and everything. And it's like, what do I do with it? I make my crossbows harder to hit. And my crossbows can teleport a little bit so that they stay out of combat. And it's like, why can't I teleport around Auric ninjas?
Yeah.
Make the opponent fear them. All right, last one. Sons of Behemat. I had trouble with this. How about you?
Basically.
It's very one note. It's like coming up with stuff for knights in 40k. It can be rough.
What do? I want to make another big Gargant, or I want to make some smaller Gargant. Cool.
I mean, it's what I did. What'd you do?
That is what I was like, fucking let's give him a cannon. That's the new thing. We're giving him a cannon.
I'm okay with that. That's fine. Honestly, that's at least on par with what I did. So mine is literally just, I can't ask for you to refresh the ugly little giants.
Yeah.
That's my actual wish, but...
That is indeed the real, please do that.
So instead of that, let's squat them. And instead, we, at the same time...
Make some new, smaller ones.
Bring in a new little giant who doesn't look like shit and is instead mounted on some type of large mount. I want it to be a little bit goofy, but in that like weird, creepy fantasy but dark vibe that they've got, like the very realistic take on a children's storybook type thing, right?
Just go with like a big ox.
That was in my long list, but what I settled on, because I was kind of stuck on it after I wrote my Slaanesh bit, goats are never creepy, but you can make a gangly, mangy, fucked up looking goat that these distended stomach, gross drunkards who eat people are riding, and it'll look like proper fucked up. And like this goat is going to be the size of like an F-350. Like this is a big fucking goat because a giant is riding it.
And honestly, a goat does kind of work because like having Gargants eat goats just kind of works from like an idea aspect. And then you're like, well, that's the really, really big one that we don't eat yet.
Yep. We use those and then we eat them when they die.
Yeah, I like that. That works.
It also gives the little giants a little more rules variation from just big giants, but cheaper. Of like, okay, you can use them as more scouty type units who are highly mobile, but won't be nearly as tanky or be able to hold a point as well as the big giants.
But like, they're also still like
Still a giant.
proper like giants. Like, they're still Sons of Behemat. Because that was the problem. I was also thinking like, yeah, we could do some more like smaller Gargant type things to like fix the current model issues essentially. But I was like, then what do you do with it other than it's just smaller? I like your idea. It does solve that issue quite well. I'm fully on board.
All right. That is all of the AOS factions. This took a bit longer than I thought it would, but this was really fun to brainstorm.
Yeah, we'll have to catch back up in a year or 2 or 3 or something like that and see how many of them actually came true.
Or how many came true before this episode came out, because we're recording this less than 24 hours before there's a reveal show to fuck us over.
Hey, at least the video game one we got out just like a minute before it actually happened. So
We nailed the timing on that this week, baby. All right, if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do it at patreon.com/SolelySingleton, where you can join great patrons like Steve Richardson and our patrons who pay so much that we have to shout them out every month. They are a pulsating ball of pure energy,
a suspicious looking guy,
a dachshund.
Adeptus Diabetes, insulin sold separately.
You said diabetes.
Yeah, that's why I paused. I was like, do I do it or do I actually say it right? And I made it funny.
Adrian Franca,
Alan Dunn,
Amdragon,
Amists,
Andreas,
another hairy Sasquatch,
Arc is trans now, deal with it.
Ava Dominus Nuts,
Biggs the Purple Necron,
Blubbles 180,
Bob Myers.
Bob Kerr,
Brad, we've been trying to reach you about your Storm Tigers extended warranty.
be right back, gotta snaz my wagon,
Canuck A,
Carnivax,
Chad the Frog,
Christopher Gargliano,
Chromavale,
Colin H,
Craig Judge,
Crazy Shack 48,
Cube 1359,
Dairy Sorcerer, addicted to mana potions,
Daniel Field 5150,
Das Goopy,
Dixoni. My name was stuck on Dixon the Third. Should it be Dixon the Third?
I don't know, dude.
It's not separated or capitalized or anything.
If they were capitalized, I would be like, yes, but they're not. So I think it's Dixon.
Okay.
Dominic Calcico,
Draco Nomini,
Edward Lawrence,
Enchanted Galaxy Cat,
Eric Rogold on Fulgrim's Dorn until Eric Rogold on Fulgrim's Dorn until Fulgrim Oppressor Cannoned for D6 +3.
Eric, how does it feel that Grey Knights are worse than 1K Suns? It's 1,000 Suns or T Suns. It's not 1K Suns, Bricky.
Ethan Flores.
Eve the Thief.
Everyone in the Fabius Bile trilogy is Jojo Bozing.
I could believe that. Fulgrim, the Master Pegger, Mpreg for short.
No R, but
sorry.
yes.
Fulgrim, the Master Pegger, Mpeg for short. Mpreg was way funnier though.
Yeah, but funding Eric's lifestyle.
Got him. Gathering Clouds.
Gear Overlord.
Geet.
GW, stop pegging the Eliminators. Make them 75 points.
Oh, God. Hemerok.
Heretic Tox.
Hey, look, Marathi and Lilith are... God damn it. Hey, look, Marathi and Lilith are playing footsies with each other.
Horace only had one ball.
Hyena Beans.
Hypnotic Spectre.
I be cracking my barrel.
Oof. I hope I got the right spot. I want to hear Brad say Shabingus.
I won't.
Maybe next time.
Ilindi.
Iron Father.
Isaac Hall.
Istvan Wolf.
Jack Gaming.
Jack Tazat.
Jared DePerna.
Justin Utachek.
Khan Tunsil.
Katie and Moore.
Kentorb.
Kozak.
Kozak, but better and stronger. What the fuck? Did you subscribe twice?
It's the doppelganger. Krishna.
Lucas.
Lord of Chaos.
Matthew Tsushima.
Michael Melcher.
Michelle, who thinks they should add an army rule to Imperial agents.
Mitchell.
Mixolodius.
Burnt toast.
Morfield 55.
Not Gaffy.
Not EE.
Oh, wait, I forgot to mention. Next week on, we're going to transition to a Kill Team podcast.
You can tell that you're British because you said next week on. No normal person would say that. Omega Shark.
Pierce forgot about changing their name as a bit for a while.
Proteus 7331.
Cullen.
Reigns 13.
Retheus Khan.
Rock.
Rogue Trader Jake.
Ross Warlock.
Remora.
Saft Jep. It's German. Deal with it.
Can only imagine it was still pronounced wrong.
I didn't even try to change my pronunciation. I also know it's German because he put extra capitalization for no reason.
I'm sure it has reason. It's German. Everything has a reason. Come on. Sriracha sauce.
Scott Gallmeyer.
Scuba Steve.
Shax's Pet Otter.
Sister Leviathan of the Sororitas.
Solanite.
Struggle Bus.
The Mailman.
The Marines Malevolent are the best child soldiers.
The Crusader 13.
The Fish Guy.
Thurango.
Toledo rightfully belongs to Ohio.
No, it doesn't. Tom McGarth.
Ualuna.
Vati the Picori.
Vangirth.
Warhammer Caleb.
Woodstock.
Would you rather get top from the Sloppity Bile Piper or get ravaged by the Great Mog Emperor?
Huh. Why so mad too?
Zach Wade.
And Zimbabwe. Thank you for supporting the show.
And we have producers who we thank every week. They are 3D Frank.
Aetherian, corrupted but fabulous.
Ava Warrior Princess.
Blastmasters are translators for dubstep weebs.
Ballisted Brain.
Brad's secret Bumble account with Eric.
Breaking news, Texas held the first fat squirrel competition this weekend. The squirrel known as Chunkosaurus Rex won narrowly.
I can only hope that's actually true.
I really do too.
Commissar Kurz, loser of the Imperium.
Corvus.
Damn, I finally went too far. You guys didn't read all of my name last time. Eric on dating site when? Probably not before GTA 7. Also, Mike's Baneblade when?
Demolition Man.
Eric's foot tier list.
Fulgrim and Goldship are teaming up for a double peg deluxe at Cracker Barrel. I hate you.
Gilgamesh versus
Grant Yost.
Jan Guy C.
Kiwi Fruit Bird.
Le Bloop Bloop.
Lord Partridge II.
Mr. Squigums.
Move over, OSHA. The forklift drifting king is here.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You pegged my father. Prepare to die.
NJ Harlan.
Pizza 00100.
Raise rent for single moms. That's not a name, I just believe in that.
Clip that. Ratchet 7989.
Sam Brown.
Scott, the Jim Crab, Mr. Festastic.
Somebody. I'm not able to do this with a straight face.
You gotta sing song it.
We will all die. Somebody once told me the world was gonna peg me. I ain't the roundest hole in the board.
Something Cracker Barrel. I'm out of name ideas.
That moiety. That's amazing.
All right. Okay. Told the orcs that pegging is like when the Tau charge you instead of you charging the Tau. It's kind of like a role reversal.
That's a really adult way to explain that in a weird way.
They're not wrong.
Victorian Batman.
And War Game Simulator. Thank you for supporting the show.
You deranged freaks.
At least some of them.
Shout out to people with normal names still at this point.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here.
Sounds good.